You are 100% responsible for the outcomes of your life. Hey there, welcome back to the Charles of a Man podcast. I'm thrilled to have you here with me for another episode filled with insight, inspiration, and a whole lot of empowerment. In our last episode, we dived into the concept or the profound concept of intentionality and how it shapes our lives in ways that we may not even realize. Today, I want us to shift our focus to another crucial aspect of personal growth, success, and that is the power of choice. The moment we sleep, we are faced with countless choices. Some, of course, may seem insignificant, like what to have for breakfast and what to wear. Other choices, of course, they do carry far much greater weight, such as career path, kind of relationships to nature, and of course what business to go into. But no matter how big or small a choice we make, it has the power or the potential to shape the reality of our lives and as well as define our future. The present circumstances are as a result of the choices that you have made. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that our circumstances dictate our choices, that we are limited by external factors beyond our control. The present life that you have right now, to some extent, has been as a result of the choices that you have made. We may not always, of course, have control over what happens to us, but we always have control over how we respond. How we respond really does matter, especially to the things that we have no control. There are two ways of responding to uncontrollable events. You can respond to it from a positive standpoint, from a negative standpoint. Those are your choices that you make towards that circumstance that you found yourself into. We don't choose the kinds of families that we are born into. That is a fact. We don't choose the kinds of environment that we were raised into. I don't deny how these environments or societies have shaped our beliefs, shaped who we are. But to some degree, we do have a choice to let that continue or to restructure our lives to make it the way that we want to be. Because we cannot keep letting circumstances the kinds of life that we live. Life is hard, yes, that is a fact, and we cannot deny that. But how do we respond to the fact that life is hard is what matters. Yes, there are bad people in the world, but how do we react to the bad people in the world? That does matters. Now, it takes me back to my initial point of how we respond to circumstances that are beyond our control. We may choose to react positively, or we may choose to react negatively. However we choose to react, that is how our life will progress. It will progress in the direction of how we respond, either positively or negatively. So now, when we respond to an event negatively, what happens is that every choice that we make that follows will respond. 99% of the time, it will be negative. I'll give an example of that work. We were faced with a major crisis where we're going really low. And what caused the sales to be going low is something that is beyond our control. As a nation, we were faced with a drought. And then as a result of that drought, it affected of course, the supply of power. And then we had power shortages. Whenever we were asked, why are the sales going low? Then, of course, everyone sees, my boss sees, then they know that the reason why we are facing or we are having this challenge is because we don't have power. The reasonable answer to give in that moment is, boss, you see, the reason why we are experiencing low sales is because, number one, customers are not buying. Why? Because there's no power. They don't have the power to use our services, because our services depends on customers having constant supply of power. We're having a conversation with her. She said something that I think I have known that there's something that I can do. But when she said it was like a light bulb in my head. And then she said, do you know that you can do something about it? Do you know that you can do something here where you can now become since the company doesn't have somebody who is doing these things. You can be the one that the company can actually choose you to do these things for the entire region. That's like, what? I had never thought of something like that. So you can actually do that right here where you are. You can find solutions to the problems that you're currently facing. Then it happened. Then it clicked in my head to say, wait a minute. You have no choice. You don't really determine what happens, but you have a choice on how you react to what happens. That is like a very profound saying. Then I began thinking, what can we do? What can we do? When I and my team began asking, what can we do? What we discovered is solutions began coming. We started seeing opportunities where we were not able to see anything, but are within our space that don't really rely so much on the aspect of having power that we can utilize to boost ourselves. And then those are the things that we now began focusing on. When you are looking for a solution, you will find it. The moment you become a victim to your circumstance, the probability of you finding the answer becomes very slim. But the moment that you transcend your circumstances and what can I do? How can I approach this situation from a different light? It is a fact that I was born in a poor family. But what can I do to ensure that I change the circumstances of my life? It is true that there is corruption in the world, but what can I do to these circumstances? It is true that people are always on the left side, that no one truly supports my efforts and the likes, but what still can I do? How can I change my circumstances? When you begin to look at it from a positive side, your approach to life changes. It shifts totally from being a victim to now being the one taking in charge. That's why I mentioned you are now 100% responsible for the outcome of your life. And now, what happens when you shift and begin to see life from a positive light? Like when you begin to make choices from a positive light, that becomes your norm of constantly making right and correct choices. The same is true when you react differently, because when you react negatively, you will constantly be making, and then that is now who you become. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So now, if you are constantly making your heart filled with negative stuff, constantly, that is what is abundant in your heart, and that is what you keep having. Because out of the abundance of your heart, and the mouth will speak. So it is not possible, if your heart is filled with negativity, it is not possible for you to speak light. And then the Bible says life and death are in the power of the tongue. So when you constantly speak negative, that is the kind of life that you are going to. It has nothing to do with the circumstances. It has everything to do with how you are responding to the circumstance. If you choose to now react positively to a circumstance, you change everything. You change how you see things, how you see them and you accept them, but they don't influence your choices. They don't influence how you see life. They don't influence how you relate with people. You have transcended the victim mindset and you've adopted a growth mindset based on the choices that you have been making. And now that becomes your constant norm. And your life is never the same like that. I have seen the power of choice and how, when you react to things positively, you tend to see opportunities where others are not seeing opportunities. You tend to enter doors where others are scared to enter. Why? Because you choose to say, okay, why am I scared to enter certain doors? What is the worst that can happen? If that opportunity is there, the worst that can happen is that you remain as you are. So you can choose to get out of your comfort zone and give that dream a try and approach your boss to say, boss, I have this idea. What can we do about it? But as long as you are constantly reacting to things negatively, it's not possible for you to see these opportunities that are there. And opportunities are always there. It is the ability to perceive opportunities that assures you that you take advantages of these opportunities. Otherwise, opportunities will keep coming and keep going. And this is all as a result of choosing to react positively to the things that happens in your life, to the environments, the circumstances that you find yourself in. Because once you start looking at it from a positive standpoint, you open yourself to possibilities, endless possibilities. This is the challenge that I have for you today, is for you to embrace the power of choice in your own life. You need to take a look at the areas where you feel stuck or unfulfilled and ask yourself, what choices have led me here? There is a part of when you take responsibility for where you are. In as much as there are circumstances that have actually led you to where you are, there is also an accountability aspect of you, the role that you have played in the present circumstances that you found yourself in. The second most important question to ask is, what choices can I make moving forward to create the life that I truly desire? Then once you keep asking those questions, answers will start coming. Solutions will start coming. What can we do to improve the situation of our life? What can I do today to improve my life even in the most tiniest way? Because do not despise small steps, because these are the things that lead to actually bigger. They say Rome was not built in a day. So I know it's not easy. Making the right choices, of course, require vulnerability and the willingness. You have to be willing. You have to take the courage and be willing to step out of your comfort zone. And one thing that I can assure you is that the rewards of making empowered choices far outweigh the temporary discomfort of staying and unsatisfying status quo. So, remember, you are not a product of your circumstances, but a product of your choices. You have the power within you to shape your reality, to build the life of your dreams, and to become the best version of yourself. So, go forth with intention, with purpose, and with unwavering belief that your choices have the power to change everything. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Show Yourself a Man. I can't wait to see the incredible choices you will make, the extraordinary life you will create. Until next time, stay empowered, stay inspired, and always remember, the power of choice is yours. Choose